The Little Fox and the Secrets of the Old Forest. Once upon a time, in a wide green valley, where the morning mist clung to the grass, and the sun rose slowly behind soft blue hills, there lived a little fox named Thistle. Thistle had fur as bright as autumn leaves and eyes the color of amber. Every day, Thistle ran through the meadows, played beside the babbling brook, and chased dragonflies that glittered like living gems. Yet beyond all the places Thistle knew so well, there lay the old forest. The old forest was darker than any other part of the valley. Its trees stood tall and ancient, their branches twisting together so thickly that sunlight barely touched the mossy floor. The elders of the Fox clan often warned the young ones, "Do not go into the old forest. It keeps secrets that are better left undisturbed." But Thistle, being curious and braver than most, found it hard to ignore. One bright morning, when the dew still sparkled on the leaves and the songbirds were just beginning their chorus, Thistle woke with a flutter in his chest. Today felt different. Today, he decided, was the day he would finally see what lay hidden in the heart of the old forest. He trotted down the winding path, past fields of wildflowers and tall ferns, until the path disappeared and the trees grew closer together. Here, the air smelled of damp earth and ancient bark. Thistle's paws sank into soft moss as he stepped beyond the last patch of sunlight. At first, Thistle felt a shiver of fear. Shadows danced like living things, and the wind whispered secrets he could not quite hear. But his curiosity was stronger than his fear, so he pressed on. Deep inside the forest, the little fox discovered wonders that took his breath away. Tiny mushrooms glowed softly, as if the moon had left bits of itself on the ground. Fireflies drifted lazily among the roots of towering oaks, and spiderwebs shimmered with morning dew like silver lace. After walking for what felt like hours, Thistle came upon a clearing. At its center stood an ancient stone well, covered in ivy and carved with symbols older than any Thistle had ever seen. As he sniffed around the well, he heard a gentle rustling nearby. From behind a fallen log stepped the smallest, most delicate creature Thistle had ever seen. She was barely as tall as Thistle's paw, with wings like a dragonfly's, shimmering green and gold. Her hair was the color of corn silk, and she wore a dress sewn from petals and leaves. Thistle blinked in amazement. "Oh," he exclaimed softly. "Who are you?" "I'm Larkspur," she replied, her voice as clear and light as a stream song. "And you must be Thistle, the little fox who dares to come where foxes never come." Thistle lowered his ears. "I didn't mean to bother you. I only wanted to see what was here," Larkspur smiled. "Then come and see." She turned and fluttered away, and Thistle, heart pounding with excitement, followed. Larkspur led him deeper into the forest, where the air felt older still, and the trees wore cloaks of silvery moss. There, hidden among roots and stones, lived the fairy folk. Thistle had heard of them only in the oldest stories, but here they were, as real as the wind. Some fairies danced in circles, making flowers bloom beneath their feet. Others painted the wings of butterflies with tiny brushes dipped in morning dew. There were fairies who shaped raindrops into pearls, and fairies who coaxed mushrooms into spirals and rings. Everywhere Thistle looked, there was magic. "Why don't the foxes come here?" Thistle asked. Larkspur's smile faded. "Long ago," she began, "the fairy folk and the creatures of the forest lived together in harmony. But something changed. Some creatures grew afraid of our magic, and others grew greedy for it. So we hid ourselves to keep our secrets safe, and the forest itself helped, making paths twist and shadows deepen until few dared to enter. But you're kind," said Thistle. "Why hide?" Larkspur shook her head gently. "Kindness can still be misunderstood, and so the old forest keeps its secrets." For days that felt like a dream, Thistle stayed in the hidden part of the forest. He watched the fairies at work, learning how they painted the glow on the fireflies and shaped the mist to blanket the morning hills. He saw them whisper to seeds to make them sprout and coax vines to climb old stones. One twilight, Larkspur brought Thistle to the heart of the forest, where an ancient oak tree stood taller than any other. Its trunk was wide and hollow at the base, and its bark was covered in symbols older than memory. "This is the elder tree," Larkspur explained softly. "It remembers everything, and it keeps the greatest secrets of all." As Thistle stepped closer, he felt something deep and powerful, like the heartbeat of the forest itself. The air smelled of rain and old leaves, and the moss beneath his paws was soft as a sigh. "Can I hear its secrets?" Thistle asked. Larkspur tilted her head. "Some secrets are meant to be kept, but sometimes it shares a memory." She placed a tiny hand on the trunk, and the bark seemed to shimmer. Thistle pressed his nose to the mossy bark, and suddenly he saw visions. A time when fairies and animals spoke the same language, when rivers sparkled with magic and flowers opened only at the touch of moonlight. He saw creatures that no longer roamed the forest, great silver stags and tiny mice with wings. When the vision faded, Thistle felt both joyful and sad. The forest had been so full of wonder, and so much of it was gone. As the days passed, Thistle grew close to Larkspur. They shared stories. Thistle told of his family, his games by the brook, and how he loved to nap in sun-warmed grass. Larkspur spoke of dawn ceremonies, where fairies wove the morning mist, and moonlit dances where they shaped dreams for sleeping creatures. One evening, as fireflies lit the clearing, Larkspur grew quiet. "Thistle," she said softly, "you must return to your family soon. The old forest has welcomed you, but it will not keep its paths open forever." Thistle's heart ached. "Will I see you again?" "Perhaps," said Larkspur, "if you remember what you've seen and keep it in your heart. The forest opens its secrets only to those who see with wonder, not with wanting." Thistle nodded. "I promise." The next morning, guided by Larkspur, Thistle retraced his steps. As he reached the edge of the forest, he turned and saw the fairy, small and shining among the shadows, waving goodbye. Thistle returned to his family, who were overjoyed to see him safe. They listened, wide-eyed, as he spoke of the fairies, the glowing mushrooms, and the elder tree. Some shook their heads, thinking it was only a story, but others, seeing the wonder in Thistle's eyes, believed. From then on, Thistle often wandered to the edge of the old forest. He never went as far as before, but sometimes, when the morning mist lay heavy or the moon was full and silver, he glimpsed tiny figures dancing among the shadows. And though the old forest kept most of its secrets, it had shared enough with a curious little fox named Thistle enough to fill his heart with wonder all his days. So the little fox lived, forever changed by what he had seen, carrying the magic of the old forest wherever he went. And sometimes, when the wind whispered through the leaves, he thought he heard Larkspur's voice, reminding him that magic is real, if only you remember to look for it. And so, the story of the little fox and the secrets of the old forest lived on, whispered from parent to cub, as softly and secretly as the wind through the ancient trees.